Get up. Let's do it for real. Ring, ring, 7 a.m. Move yourself to go again. Cold water in your face is gonna bring you back to this awful place. Knuckle merchants and the bankers too, who must get up and learn those rules. Weatherman and crazy chief, one says sun and one says sleep. Now the AM, the FM, the PM too, turning out that boogaloo. It gets you up and it gets you out, but how long can you keep it up? I said, give me Honda, give me Sony. It's so cheap and it's so phony. Hong Kong dollar, Indian cents, English pounds and the Benjamins. I said, New York! Don't stop and give it all you got. Say New York! Come on and get up. Don't stop and give it all you got. Say New York! Come on and get up. Don't stop and give it all you got. Say New York! Get up. You just don't stop and give it all you got. I'll rise to better my station. Take my baby to sophistication. See the ads? Well, isn't it nice? Better work hard cause I know the price. Now never mind that. It's time for the bus. And you'll get on cause you're one of us. The clocks go slow in the place of work. The minutes drag and the hours jerk.
Live from the Dog the Cat Studios on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, it's On the Horn with Andrew Einhorn. Like that, I slid in and I slid out. Come on, check out this scenery. Oh, I'm feeling pretty good tonight. What do you think? So a couple of new changes, you know, technically, aesthetically, artistically, if you will. One is this thing, it's called a microphone. If I get really close, it sounds really good. And I've kind of moved the setup back into my living dining room and having this background because my mentor, Chris Torella, really likes it. So, you know, it's got a little bit of a feel. When we crop it, you'll get Tiger in the background and go from there. October 28th, 2020. Can you believe it? We are 6 days away from this thing called the election. Oh, my God. So it's really good because the show is kind of political. My artist, Randy Burman, fantastic gentleman, kind soul, is an artist and does a lot of political art, humor, whatever. And I went to Central Park to film. So I'll say right at the beginning that you should follow me on Facebook and YouTube, you know, subscribe and do all that stuff. Next week, and I'll try to mention it now before I forget, I have Astra and Dara. Astra's been an incredible woman getting me different guests. She helped me get Randy, and she's just sweet and funny. And I don't know her friend, per se, Dara, but she's married to somebody of notoriety, which we're not even going to mention, maybe at the end. They're just a fun couple of kids who are real New Yorkers, so we're going to get into it and just have some fun. That's pretty much it. You know, I was just thinking, though, that this political thing, it's a it's a football game, is it not? It's a sport. You got one team, it's the Democrats, and one team, it's the Republicans. And in between, you've got offsides and touchdowns, and we've got different states. Pennsylvania versus Wisconsin versus Idaho. Which county's going to go which way? What about young adults? What about old adults? What about kids? What about those with COVID? What about those without? We got all these things. Yeah, it's an offside, a defense, interception, touchdown. It's a sport. Oh, please let the right team win. Speaking of which, I'm just going to go right to this and hope I do everything right. How do I look, by the way? I think my hair is about as good as it ever gets. I'm wearing my dad's bolo, although you can't see it. So, all right, time out. I'm going to share my screen and go to Chrome. Share the audio. Rock and roll. Are you guys ready? You're sitting down? This is me in the park from Sunday asking people about, lo and behold, the election. What do you think? Who knew? Oh, play that game. Oh, why do I always do that? It's Andrew on the horn in the park. October 25th, it's Sunday. We are 8 days from the election. So I'm going to ask people how they feel about it. Are they nervous, excited? What's going to happen? And I'm going to ask them which piece of political artwork they like best for my guest, Randy Burman, tonight. Stick around. So, can you tell me how you're feeling about this election coming up? Are you nervous, excited?
I feel terrible about it. It's the stupidest situation I've ever seen in 40 years of watching politics, or even 60.
Obviously, we have to vote Joe Biden. It's like the only thing we have, but I feel like they're both not the best candidates.
Trump's a 6-year-old. and Biden is ready for a nursing home.
I'm excited to see what the result is. If it's a good result, i.e., Trump doesn't win again.
We all want Trump voted out, right?
Yeah, we want the crazy town bus to like go over a cliff.
Well, I think that we're over the hump now, and I think that Trump is going to lose.
Well, hopefully Biden will win.
I hope Biden wins. The world will hopefully be a more stable place if that happens, but it's a little bit unnerving right now because I went to vote today and the line was 3 hours.
At this point, I don't think we can expect anything, even though the polls say he's going to win.
The thing that happened 4 years ago, like, I know, and I'm dreading it, but I think we're too confident about Joe in the same way we were confident about Hillary. And then when it comes, we're going to be like, what the fuck? I can't believe it.
How do you feel about the election? I guess you're a Trump supporter, which is fine.
I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm against anything affiliated with Marxism or socialism.
I respect that. Did you vote? Or are you going to vote?
I did.
Oh, yeah, a little taste of Central Park there. I felt good that I got in the one woman who was a Republican. One woman, one human being. But, I stuck with it. And I do respect people to be able to voice their opinion to me. I want everybody to feel free, Tell me, I'm the doctor, I'm the dentist, I'm the psychologist. Of course, I am not voting that way, but anyway. All right, without further ado, that was a nice intro. I'm going to bring in my newest best friend, Randy Burman, live from Miami, Florida. Hello, Randy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
The park, I love that.
I did a bunch of different things, so I've got 3 more, but I've got it's mostly about your art, so a little back and forth. But your sign project is just to die for, and we'll get that to a minute. So first, tell me, are you in Miami proper? Are you in the suburbs? Where are you?
In Miami, North Miami, but it's considered Miami.
Okay.
I kid around. This is actually North Miami. That there used to be. This used to be really like a Jewish neighborhood, and now it's a Haitian neighborhood. But at one point, almost like 1,000 Jewish families moved to India. Yeah, because they heard there was a new Delhi.
Oh!
It's really it was stock.
You use that one a lot?
It's a wonderful neighborhood, actually. Very convenient to everything. Costco nearby. And good people.
Are you near the Fontainebleau? Isn't that North Miami?
On the beach. The beach is like an island off of the mainland. And, 15 minutes away. You can see it from here. I live on the bay, so I can see Miami Beach out my window.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, well, I want to get to your sign projects. I like the poems in the sky. You've obviously, people that will go to randyburman.com can spend a day because there is a lot of different things. Your diversity is just incredible. And I found common themes, and I want to talk about that later. But first, I'm always curious as to people's background. I don't want to spend too much time, but I know you're from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And how long did you stay there before coming to Miami, or was there anything in between?
There was so much in between. Well, there's a lot in Baltimore. So, I grew up there, went to school there. During the 60s, I dropped out of college there. Lived in a neighborhood called Fells Point, which is down in the harbor. It was beautiful, 50 bars in like a 4-block area. People that lived in the neighborhood was, for instance, one notable, John Waters. PJ Clark had worked on the underground paper with me. But we had just a great time. It was very bohemian type of neighborhood, art students, etc. And a lot of ethnic groups, the Greeks and Italians. Just a beautiful neighborhood. And then at one point, I kind of had enough of that. Moved out to a farm, had an opportunity, a 50-acre farm for $50 a month. Wasn't really sure I could afford it, but did. Then
where was that? Where was this farm?
Hanover, Pennsylvania. And I was really foraging, and it was incredible. I had like a garden that's in some parts of the world, somebody would cut off the right arm to have soil that rich. But I was I would have to just give stuff away. It would just, tomatoes and like whatever. You just couldn't eat that much. And but I was so into foraging and what nature was providing
Yep.
I was just like, it's just too much, you know? So at a certain point, my wife at the time decided to go to massage school down here in Miami. And so I followed her. She came down first, went to school, and then I came down with my son in our VW van, if you can imagine that, driving down. And we had like lived in that VW van in like a sheep pasture and just done all kinds of interesting things. In the neighborhood in Fells Point, it was an incredible story in that the entire neighborhood was to be demolished. It was built in 200 years ago. William Fell, who came here from England on a ship, developed the neighborhood, and shipbuilders built these houses. It was incredible. But the Department of Transportation decided what we should do is knock down all these 200-year-old houses and put in a leg of I-95. And so that gave us cause in the neighborhood to rise and sue the Department of Transportation, which eventually we won, and the houses have been preserved. And it's a very vibrant neighborhood to this day. It's
that's great.
Wonderful success story.
So as an artist, was it always in you as a child? Did your parents encourage it? How did this happen?
Parents didn't encourage me, but that's an interesting story. I kind of remember coloring in a coloring book as a child would do. And that I kind of outlined whatever it was, a fire truck, and then shaded in the inside. So it was like not just kind of script. And there was some observational sense that like there's this artistic thing. And I think at that same time, I have two brothers. My oldest brother said, "Nice drawing, Randy," or "nice whatever." And that one good stroke, as like Freud might say, just like that did it. I was like set on that path. And all I ever did since then really was like art. I've made lots of decisions over the years to, I really like this carpentry that I'm doing, but if I'm not doing artwork, I don't really think I'll be happy. I have to do this. And in fact, you might say that I use the same principle in raising my two kids, that my objective was, I don't need them to be anything. All they need to be is creative. If they can express their creative selves, they'll be fine in the world. And it's worked out pretty good, actually.
That's nice. I see that in a lot of the art I was looking at because it encourages people to think and react and that kind of thing. But we'll get into that later. So let's go right into the political action sign project. And maybe you could describe what this is about. And I'm going to go to my Lightroom catalog. So tell me about, the basic stuff. I do have a lot of things that I wrote down, such as where did the idea come from? Okay. What do you hope people take away from the art? Do people ask for more than one sign? What do you do with them after the election? Are there candidates from other countries per se? And aside from being liberal, what do people who have the signs have in common? So go ahead and answer all those at once.
Yeah, right. Let me remember the first one. We've all been just bombarded. We've all heard enough. The thing that gives us the most pleasure now is turning off all our devices after we've totally doom scrolled on the TV, on the iPad, on the phone, and the computer. We're just had enough. And that's now. But that project was started for the 2018 midterms. And just you read all these articles, and I get the New York Times and the Miami Herald, and you just read, and there's so much input and so many great people have commented, even some of the people in the park there, what they said to you. I just start writing down some of these words. He's a sociopath. He's this, that. And so I just start making a list. And then at one point I had this idea, a lot of my work, you're correct. I want to empower other people to be creative and to get involved. And so I start making these political signs where it was Democrat, and it could be anything else like crazy town, sociopath, bad trip. Really, I came up with about 400 different ones just by pretty much copying words out of things I heard or saw someplace. And I made them into this format of signs. And then I made what would be great is I'll offer these, because I have a gigantic printer here, I'll offer these for free if anyone will and I'll even throw in the lawn stand, which these are on, if they'll take a picture of it and put tag Save Democracy. And I don't know, about 300 signs that got sent all over the country, none out of the country that I can recall, but all over the country. And then people like start sending in their pictures of the signs every place. To bring it up to date, yes, a lot of people saved their signs and posted them this year to say like, oh yeah, I definitely saved my sign. I put it out this year. The extremes that some people went to, one person had the sign stolen like twice and then did a thing with like chains and locks on the sign. It was like, this is crazy, you know? So
I would imagine there'd be a lot of thievery going on. I mean, if you're on the right, you are not going to like some of these things at all, especially if it's in, Kansas, Nebraska.
Absolutely, yeah. But there are some people that like kind of feed on that, and you might say that I'm one of them anyway. But I thought it was like fantastic, and even that's the one that I actually put up in my neighborhood. Around one day, some very fine people. So after about 300 signs, and really it was time to vote already, I stopped making, but people kept requesting them. And so I put about 20 of them on a site called Zazzle, where who knows, they probably have different printers all over the country. But even today, which is way too late, to shipped in time, there was another order that came in. They sent me like an email every time it's orders, and people buy them in threes. The one, I don't know that you've showed it yet, that says Democrat Pendejo, which is Spanish for asshole.
I've got it. Of course, that's the last one.
It's by far the most popular one. 9 out of 10 that bought them online bought these.
Wow. I couldn't believe it because I didn't even know the word. I know like hijo de puto, maricón, cerote, concha tu madre, sorry for the Spanish people, but I never heard pendejo. But I'm in Central Park and I'm saying pendejo, it tends to, they're like, I know what it means. So, but yeah, it got a good reaction. Well, I'll do a few questions and then I'm going to go to the first bit where I ask people what they like from. What are you hoping people take away from it? I mean, I guess it's self-explanatory, but maybe you have something different to shed.
They're able to, that people feel so anguished and anxiety ridden. This helps them relieve, which is a overall theme in a lot of my work. See the Ventomatic really helps them express themselves. You know, they would have said this if they could, and having the opportunity to say it. I had lots of people that said, I have never put a lawn sign up during any political season, but I'm putting this one up, or putting 5 of them up. And some people had them for free. They got 5 of them and put them all up on their lawn. That's one of my favorite sociopaths. It's so true.
Oh, it's great. That one got a very favorable response. After a while, I had to say something different, please. So I'm curious, aside from obviously these people are liberal, did you find they have something in common with someone from Arkansas, Kansas, Pennsylvania who asked for the sign? Did they tend to have characteristics that were similar?
They all wanted to not have Trump as president. That's for sure. They were basically Democrats, and lots of times the signs were placed with other Democratic signs of local people. There are lots of, since I was giving them away free, a lot of people, this doesn't answer your question, but it's an aside.
It's okay.
Lots of people, since I was giving them away free, they say, can't I give you something? And I would always tell them, no, just donate to a local candidate or to the animal shelter or whatever is like local.
Oh, that's nice.
We don't really need it here. I mean, I don't need it anyway. You know, it's to give it to somebody that needs it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your question? Maybe I can't answer it.
No, it was good. That was it. I was just whether certain people had things in common. I'd be like, oh, they were housewives that had 3 husbands or whose children were getting mad at them. That's something in common. Obviously, these are all going to be liberal people that got a little guts and chutzpah to put this on their lawn, but I don't know.
They were old, young, from Arizona, New Mexico, California, New York, Miami, of course, a lot. No, really all over the place.
Have people in other countries seen this? Because I would think like Venezuela, France, somewhere where people are like, this is a good idea. We're going to do it, in our election. Anywhere international? Come on, son. You could be,
Ready. I'm ready to help out.
Okay, I'm going to go right to this. This is the first one, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So my friend is an artist. He's going to be on a show that I do, and he's got these different things. So which is your favorite about these? They're kind of just meant to be funny.
Oh, man, I love that.
Wow. They're all good.
The psychopath one?
Democrat or sociopath?
The Democrat or sociopath?
Democrat and sociopath, or Democrat and pendejo.
I'll go for president.
I like the Crazy Town one.
Oh, you know, Crazy Town.
Just like mean, crazy, weird. So yeah.
Democrat, sociopath. Okay.
Sociopath sounds right.
I think sociopath.
I'm not going to vote for the sociopath, no.
Democrat and sociopath, 1000%.
I was thinking pendejo. That's the only thing I can remember.
Yeah.
I'm going with pendejo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that.
I'm gonna third that. I think that's the best one.
Sociopath or badass trip, or both.
Great.
Take care, brother.
You too. That's funny when I see that. There was a lot of times, I'm telling you, it was not easy to carry 4 sheets of paper. You know, I did this before, and I'm like trying to film, and then sometimes I was handing people the thing, here, you take this and hold this, and I'm thinking, well, COVID, are we not supposed to touch something that someone else touched? And it was a little awkward. So there was a lot of filming where the camera was moving it upside down because I didn't want to hit off, but you know, that's the way it goes. That took me about a day and a half between these 4 videos because there's an art where you sort of dance. These 2 people said this in common. This is nice. You know, I've been doing this for years with weddings and bar mitzvahs and all that kind of stuff. But it makes a huge difference how you cut it. And sometimes I like to take one person's answer, maybe cut it into 3 bits, and you kind of return to it. But you can't wait too long. You got to give only 1 or 2 answers in between. Come back to it. Just, you know, it's an art, right? You know, as an artist.
Really, I really appreciate that. And I you know, when I, for whatever reason, might kind of go on my website for some reason. I mean, I'm familiar with everything, so I don't have that much reason to go there. But I'll hit that and I'll go through it. And really, I'll still break out laughing just like those people did. It's just like, these are funny.
Yeah, really funny. And I only picked 4 of when you say, 200, 500, they must get pretty wacky. Is there anything not on that list? They're like, oh man, squirrel monkey nuts or something is like, I don't know.
You know, I'm going to suggest people go to the website and go through it because I put up like more recent ones there.
Okay.
So things have new terminology has come into our vocabulary recently. I put some of those up. In fact, I put them on the Zazzle site so people would have access to them.
Oh, good.
But still, pendejo by a long shot.
Yeah. That's funny. Those of you, again, I reiterate, you should go to his website because there's so many different. I looked through and there was a few. I picked a few. I feel like Poems in the Sky because it's more recent, or it's just like it rocks your world. And there's so many. I thought of like 8 quick questions on that. So what I might do is I might go to your website and go through. But we'll talk a minute first. Maybe you can give me a general description of Poems in the Sky.
Great project. There were 2 giant rooftop poems that were painted. Both of them are in the path, the flight path coming in and out of Miami International Airport. Point that if you are flying in or out of the airport, if you happen to look out of your window when you're flying over these murals on the roof, and one of them is like 2 football fields long. So, you know, each letter took 10 gallons of paint. So let me go back. The project is for Oh Miami, which is a poetry foundation in Miami. Their mission is very simple. For everyone in Miami-Dade County to be exposed to a poem during the month of April, which is National Poetry Month. And so they put out a call for ideas and for how to expose people to poems. And people come up with all kinds of ideas. My idea was, well, let's just paint a giant poems on rooftops. So, you know, somebody looks out of their window in a plane, they might see one of these. And they love the idea. I actually submitted more than one idea, and that year they chose another idea, said, we love this idea, let's do that next year. And the one that they chose for that particular year was something called Poetry Pops, where we printed poems on the wrapper of ice, popsicles, and then just gave them away free at street corners and cultural events. But for this project, first of all, I had to climb on a lot of roofs just to kind of check them out to see if they would do it. And I got a lot of no's. You can't climb on my roof. Are you crazy? That's like, you know, insurance and whatever. But this one here is actually at Florida International University. And I was having a show at the art museum out there, and I parked my car on this roof, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, this is fantastic. You don't even need a ladder to get up here or the scaffolding. You can drive right up here. And so I went in. The show that I was in is organized by the honors class, and they have to, as part of that class, none of these are art students, or I think there was one graphic design, but they're in all other kinds of fields. But they get this indoctrination into art, and they have to organize a show in the university gallery. And I was going in to talk about what I was going to exhibit inside the gallery, but I just parked on this roof. And so I said, I'm involved in this project for Miami where I'm painting poems on rooftops. I would love to use the garage if we could. And so the students loved the idea, and the professor, and they took it to the whoever handles like parking at the university. And they said, there is no way, that's the roof there again. There is no way you can paint on that roof. And so the kids in the honors class, and this is like during finals when this all happened too. This is totally insane. They started a, we call that like a, not a survey, a petition to have, to overturn this. And they even wrote to the local county commissioner who called the president of the university, who called his guy who was in charge of parking and said, what do you mean no? Give these guys everything that they need. And so after that, please go. Okay. It's during finals. I have like 2 sign painter friends that are working with me because we're painting both of these simultaneously, the one on the rooftop in downtown Miami and the one that's actually in Wynwood, and this one out at the university. And the students said, no, we want to be involved with painting it. And of course, the parking lot is used during the day. I'll try to cut this short. I know you don't want me to like run on. They said, so they had to, the only time we could get up to the parking lot when there were no cars on it was like after 11. So from like 11 to like 4 in the morning, the students are up there helping us like paint this poem on the roof. It's just a wonderful project. Talk about people getting involved. I mean, like, not artists, not art students at all. They're just like normal people that somehow got totally like involved in this project.
Yeah, I know some other artists that do communal things that involve large groups of people that all come together. It's nice to have that common thing. It's going to be too small for people to read, but The Silly Boy and Me, a clown making dog balloons by the door. It's just there. And
let me say one other thing. Okay, this is the icing on the cake, because these were poems that I took from another program that Miami has, which is, I think, called, I hope I get this right, the Sundown Program, which is a program where they send poets into elementary school classes in the inner city to help kids write poems, and then they publish a little chapbook. And so when it came to the actual poems that we used, I used kids' poems that, these are like 3rd and 4th graders' poems that were painted on roofs. So in my like, an international person is flying over Miami. They happen to look out, they see this poem, and it's like this kid, a little inner city kid, has his words like beaming to the people all over the world. I just thought this is it's such a beautiful.
And he's going to remember that the rest of his life, and maybe that if they want to be artists, that's going to inspire them, I'm sure. I can only imagine, like, can you look down because the rooftop is painted? It's a clown making dog balloons. I don't understand. This is just an excuse for me to do another, like, it's really strange. There's a poem that says all the people are having fun, but sharks and ... question mark look. Yeah, that's great. Keep it going. Let me see. I have so many things. No, I don't want to go too much. I'm just going to tell you what I wrote down. How do you pick what to say? No, correlation with the company or location. Who allows it? How long does it take? Amount of paint. Suggestions from friends. Did you have any people go, oh, you know what you should do? You know what I would love? I mean, people, it's irresistible, right? People must tell you what they think they want you to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, that happened more. So on this one, we used the kids' poems from this program. On the poetry pops, the popsicles that had poems on the wrappers, and on another project that I did, the first project I did for Miami was actually street signs. I called it the Department of Poetry Works. In fact, we even printed up T-shirts that looked very official that said Miami-Dade Department of Poetry Works, because after we printed up these signs, and they were metal signs, they looked just like in the same size as like no parking signs or no loading signs. And we just guerrilla installed them all over the city on existing signposts. If there's a no parking sign, we just put this like right below it. And for that, and for the Poetry Pops, we had a call for poems. And people from all, really, we had some in Urdu from like Pakistan, Spanish, Creole, English and Spanish, of course. So poets submitted poems to print on the popsicles and on the signs. On the signs, we just ended up picking like the 10 that, in fact, I gave it to somebody else, to the official poets over at Miami, to let them pick out the 10 signs. For the Poetry Pop, since I was printing the labels here, it was almost like digital printing. I had like 50 different poems. So you could get two popsicles at 2 different events, and they probably have different poems on them. They were beautiful. There's some on the website too.
You know, all of this just made me think. There's a company that I work for, and I just forgot the name in Long Island City. You know what? I'll come back to it later. But they collect the extras from companies and anything it is, fabric, material, quirky things. They put it in a warehouse, and school teachers will come in with shopping carts and you know, load up their carts and take it to the students, and they recycle, reuse, create art out of it. Yeah, it's really nice. So I would think you're very popular around the world, or amongst school teachers or people that want children to interact and, you know, get affirmation on their creative abilities.
There is a place in Miami, a guy, Mike, I can't remember his last name now, sorry, who set up a very similar thing. He had a big warehouse, and he went around to all these places that would just give supplies that teachers could come and just kind of get them. And I know there was a place out in Boulder, Colorado, where it's just stuff people donate that they have, like who knows what. It's just, they might consider it trash, but trash to artists is gold. And they come in there and just, you name it, they probably had it there. And buckets of incredible.
Materials for the Arts. I just forgot for a second. I feel horrible because it's, you know, it was there, but it's an appropriate name. They do other things too. They bring in classrooms full of kids, and they teach them about recycling and reuse them. So, and art. So it's a lot of different things. All right, I'm going to use this slight pause in the action of our football game to go to the second one. This is a continuation of your signs, Democrat or. So rock and roll. By the way, you having fun so far?
I am, but
it's fun.
Big ego trip here for me.
Yeah, well, you deserve it. I have a Brooklyn IPA, which is very good.
Oh, nice. I should go get
Brooklyn IPA, brewed locally and drank universally. Come on down. Inexpensive, on sale, $9.99 at your local supermarket now. Okay, I could use some sponsorship. Oh, I didn't hit play. Oh, man. Well, I bet. Wait, let me make sure I just hit the volume. Hold on one sec, because sometimes I do this thing. Screen 2. Oh, Chrome tab. Aha, that wouldn't have been good. Okay, let's see. Favorite sign. The Democrat or rock and roll. Okay.
Democrat or sociopath?
That's me. I handed the camera to someone else.
Or pendejo?
I'm wearing rollerblades.
Democrat or bad acid trip?
Sociopathic pendejo.
Sociopath for sure.
Wait, what was the question?
I think this one.
Which one?
This one, sociopath.
¿Y tú, mama, también?
Señora?
Igual.
I mean, this one, because it has faces in it.
Yeah.
There's faces you can recognize, and bad acid trip is like...
Bad acid trip.
You can imagine things. It's a visual in a way. Like, you could imagine weird things going on in your head.
Another bad acid trip.
A bad acid trip.
Correcto.
Bad acid trip.
I like that one.
Bad acid
I like
trip.
bad acid trip.
Bad acid trip with a sociopath.
I have to say, bad acid trip is really speaking to me right now.
All right.
You know, I think that's Astra in that bad acid trip, and it's a group, I think, that she belonged to, where they were, you know, helping the election during the midterms, doing some kind of work for it. I think I have to look at that picture again.
Our Astra? As
Yeah.
in, I don't think she was there.
No,
Oh, maybe she wasn't. I didn't know
It
it.
was another group. But I
Yeah.
thought it was great that it was a group getting together to kind of help for the election and
Yeah.
kind of using that sign. I bet it is Astra then.
By the way, just letting people know, there's always, I like to do outtakes, and I didn't really have outtakes per se, but a lot of people say no. I mean, people like it when I get rejected because they find it's funny, and then they see the struggle that I go through. So at the very end, to the closing credits, I might put this little no montage. So if I say, that's it, we're out, and I play the video, give it about 8 seconds, because there might be a little no, which is kind of funny. I could play it also, but yeah, it ain't easy. I'm walking down steps in Central Park. People, oh, watch out, be careful, because I'm on my, by the way, in case you couldn't tell, I'm on rollerblades, because that's what I love to do with my intro, skating. But then they're on the rest of the day. I don't take those bad boys off. So
it's great.
And it gets me from point A to point B quicker. And then I just kind of zoom up to people, and they're like, what the fuck? Who are you? What are you doing? I just go right in. Hey, I don't care. You're answering my questions. So my friend is an artist. What are you thinking about the election? What? Okay. Anyway, this is great. We're making nice time. I was looking at your other artwork, and there was like 3 to 4 others that I mean, they're all nice, but, and there's common themes. I'm just going to rattle off a few. You have the United States of oil, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's a U.S. floating in oil, as in like, let's get the fuck off oil. International Forschungssicherheit. How close was that pronunciation?
I don't know, but it's pretty good. Better than I could do, I can tell you. And it was really my attempt at fake Yiddish. And the piece that I was having in the exhibition at the university when we painted the one on the roof. So I was building this. Here I am painting these projects on the roof. But that is a, if you have a picture over there, I don't know, but it's a
hell yeah. Oh, I'd have to go to it, but yeah.
Long sculpture made out of like hundreds of recycled bicycle and wheelchair wheels. The pillows, the portions, the different sections are wrapped in the flags of all of the countries of the world. And it has fake security cameras that have quilted, they're covered in quilts on it. And it's in the shape of a snake. And the real story is that part of that Yiddish word has the word schlang, schlang in it. Does it say schlang? Read the word again. Or schmuck, whatever. And I wanted that to be, what is the name of it there? A Ziegler apparatus. Schlang. Yeah, I wanted that word to be in a museum. There's the piece.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, the size of it. It's like...
Yeah, I wrote down, let's see, Hindenburg penis tongue. That was my translation.
You see, it's a snake, globes as the eyes there.
With wheels. So this is a moving thing?
It doesn't really move. And that was part of the kind of idea of it. And it's just kind of, in fact, that's part of it, that there's this gigantic worldwide security apparatus. And we love them. We love these little security cameras. They're so cute, all quilted. But it's like we love our phones. And the point being that, like, we have these things that we love, and they are using them to track our every movement. So, and so it's like insidious. It's like a snake. And wheels don't turn. And it's this like oddball collection of wheels. It's just this totally unwieldy, like monstrosity that we're all controlling us to a large degree.
Wow. Wow, I didn't realize I should have been more aware that I'm going to have to go. If I'm talking about something that I really should, just go to his website when we're done. There's a lot of things. I think there's 218 different things. But I was looking for common themes, and I wrote down, I mean, we already touched, I'm sorry, what?
Ventomatic is a great one. Ventomatic was this idea that, like, people are so anguished, the same as we are now, but this was the Bush. In fact, that idea started because my wife, Manita, who is Canadian, was watching, I don't know, Condoleezza Rice or Dick Cheney on the TV one day, and she was about to throw something at the TV. And I thought, wait a minute. And it was also right around the time, remember there was an Iraqi reporter, a journalist, at Bush that he ducked. And I thought, you know what? We can channel that energy. It releases chemicals that would make you feel better if you got to like throw something. And so I painted, this is crazy, 52 portraits of right-wing bigots. Trump is in there too, by the way. There he is, right in the center there. In fact, he was the one, he was like the most well-heeled, I would say. And so I bought, you can go to some place in Miami, this is crazy, this warehouse, and they collect all the seconds that come in from shoe stores, like Payless that went out of business or whatever, and you can buy shoes by the pound. Bought like a ton of shoes that I like put out on these like counters. In fact, at all these places where I had them, I hired 2 actors, one dressed up as a doctor and one as a nurse, and they were there to facilitate people, but they also kept bringing the shoes that were thrown back to the table so more people could throw them. I'm going to read.
I want to read the name. It's probably small because some people are watching on their phones. So, and we'll see if I do see it has there for that. John Cornyn, Rick Perry, Jeff Sessions, Wayne LaPerriere, Rick Scott, Mitt Romney, here's Eric Cantor. All right, we're going back a little bit. Newt Gingrich, George Bush, Charles Koch from the Koch brothers, Dick Cheney, Mike, somebody, we're getting really far now. Kane, Herman Cain, 444-999. Ooh, Ann Coulter. Yeah. More Koch, more Goldberg, Perkins, Army, Rove. All right, Santorum. Yeah. It must have been a blast. I see that you have a video on there, so there must be video of people throwing. Right?
Absolutely. Now the thing is too that I'm not really like a portrait painter. I don't really like paint so much. My art is like whatever it is. I claim if I was homeless, if I was underneath a bridge, I'd find a bottle cap and a piece of paper and make it into something I thought was art. But I decided, and I could have just blown up photographs, but for some reason, I decided, I'll just make this an exercise to paint these portraits. So I kind of discovered another talent that I didn't even know I had. And I love doing it when I was doing it. And this happens really, this transcends all the artwork that I do. Almost whatever medium I'm working in, I think, you know what? I could just do this and nothing else and be perfectly happy. And
they're really good. I mean, they're caricatures, but obviously when they're a little bit distorted, it's not very flattering on any of them, which I guess was your intention.
No, actually it wasn't. I was trying to be respectful.
Okay.
I wasn't really trying to. I know there are characters. I guess that's my style, whether I know it or not. And maybe because I had a discipline of like each one, I'm going to just take 1 4-hour clip on a Sunday and and so I would do. First of all, the technique was I would draw it in charcoal first, and I can tell you that since I'm not an artist of this type, or at least I wasn't before I did this. I was just amazed. I thought after I did even the first couple, you can look at something and then your hand can replicate it relatively, even characterishly. It just like that. I don't want to seem like too much of a simpleton, but I think I am. It's just like, I was just amazed at this ability that it must be innate. Everyone must have this ability, I'm guessing.
I don't think so.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
I could look at a picture, I'd be drawing a stick figure. I mean, this is good. It's a little Renoir meets Van Gogh meets you. Look at Ian LaPerriere, just looks evil. I noticed you had McCain in there, and part of me is like, oh, he's now a good guy. I mean, the more Trump vilifies him, the better we like him. What do you think when people go, they go, what do you think of George Bush now? You didn't like him back then. Well, compared to Trump, it seems like every Republican president that more liberal or Democrats didn't like, the Republicans were like, well, what about now? What do you think about Bush? Has people said that to you? They look back fondly on W.
I still remember what they did. And basically they were crimes against humanity. So like, while some people may have a short memory, I don't in those terms. And I know they did, some good here too. Bush actually did nice work for AIDS in the end. But the stuff they did that was horrible, to lie to a country and to take him into a war and to have hundreds of thousands of people killed, that's not a hero to me,
Yeah. Wow, this is great stuff. You should all.
He may paint better than I do at this point, but still,
I don't think so. I'm glad that you brought this one up. That's a really nice project. So everybody should go to Ventomatic. Great name too. Let's see. Well, we have one more video clip to go to, but I wrote down some things. I think we could get a little spiritual. Not really, but I wrote down languages: French, Spanish, Latin, Hebrew, ? Children, discovery, child in Randy. Poems, poetry. Oh, it's because the other your Chablis box. Was it the Chablis boxes that was the poems? Wait. What was the one that was like Muhammad? No. Curiosity boxes.
Oh, that was
which I loved.
That was a great project.
Yeah, give me a quick summary of Curiosity boxes.
Okay, that was actually NEA sponsored, which is the only project I've had that was sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts. And that was a new museum or gallery was opening up in a place called Pembroke Pines, which is kind of between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And so they were having a kind of a grand opening on the plaza. And I was funded to do this project. And the project was I would have these boxes that were closed. I printed these sides so they have big question marks on them. And inside each box, I would have things that were typically Florida. Pink lawn, flamingo ornaments, those little rubber alligators. One book had just Carl Hyacin books in it. One box was oranges. And so then I came, and inside the lid of each one was a beautiful poem somehow related to Florida. And then I had a list of questions to ask people. So I was sitting on a box. People would come down and sit on a box. And I would ask them a question. And if they could answer the question, here's some of the poems inside the boxes.
Yeah.
A great poem by Muhammad Ali. That's a great poem. So
yeah, let's read this one. This is good. I'll take a line, you take a line. Can you see it?
Yeah, sure.
Should I do it like Ali? I done wrestled with an alligator.
I done tussled with a whale, handcuffed lightning.
Thrown under in jail only last week.
I murdered a rock, injured a stone.
Hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean.
I make medicine sick.
Muhammad Ali. And you write, if you wish, take an alligator to remind you of this poem. That's what stood out more than anything. Well, I mean, it's all great, but to remind you of this poem. So we can correlate that to different things in life. See an object, remember where you got it. Remember what you were smelling. You know, let's put the two and two together.
Exactly.
Sight, sound, smells. But it's also nice that you give props.
Yeah,
exactly. That was fun. You did a good Ali. That was pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Rumble in the Jungle. You remember that as a kid? Ali Frazier, all that stuff? It's before your time.
Yeah. No, it wasn't before.
Wow, that's. I know. I just say that, but Joe Frazier, Philadelphia. Big up to you, Joe. He was a Philly guy. Oops, I gotta go back to this. Okay, let me see what else. But on those words, child and Randy, obviously similar to me, perhaps. There's things in you. There's a little kid, and you. I don't know. To summarize that.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's important for every artist. It's certainly important for this artist to accept that child. My wife and I are also art collectors, and the art we collect is outsider art, which tends to be very childish. Here, let me just grab one of these. Speaking of Philadelphia, these are pieces that are by the Philadelphia Wireman, and it's such a wonderful story. This is this kind of a guy people considered crazy. They think he was an old black dude, and so he died without ever being known. These are things that he just made, and so after he died, the landlord just took whatever he found in this warehouse and just put it out on the street. And two guys, one of them a graphic designer, were walking by and found this box of these things. They just couldn't even believe it. And I first saw him in Baltimore at the American Visionary Museum, which is a fantastic art museum. If you ever go to Baltimore, this is in the harbor, and it's just a place of wonder. A great friend of mine, let me give him a plug, Bob Adams, also known as the Psychedelic Pig. In fact, during the 60s, his big thing, he had Weed, a WEED radio, and he posed as a disc jockey. And he had a gigantic mailbox when record companies would send out records, and he said he would play them. So many years later, he is at the American Visionary Museum and has his own artwork displayed there. Just incredible stuff. Anyway, so a lot of this, I'm going to lead back to this, that a lot of great art is produced when people come in touch with their child, their inner child. And you see that, we all have it. You look at almost any kid's drawings, anybody that has their drawings are so free. They just like express themselves. Yeah, that's why they get hung on the refrigerator, not because their kid did it, because they're beautiful. They're just aesthetically pleasing. And we lose that, or a lot of people lose it as they are growing up. They become, you give them, if you give artwork or crowns and a paper, they couldn't even bring themselves to put a mark. They're so self-conscious. Please, Freud, come in here. Where are you? So we have to, it helps, I think, people, almost no matter what they're doing, if they're able to get in touch with their inner child and express themselves, it helps them be a better person.
When you say that, I'm thinking of myself because it always comes back to me. But I mean, as a photographer, videographer, editor, it's visual, but I'm shooting something else. But it's rare that I'm not a good drawer or painter, but I definitely express myself. And when I came to New York, I started like an 8x10 notebook, and I write things in it, either a diary or not pictures, but just words or phrases. And I couldn't stop. I went back to Philly. I saved them all. I actually scanned them all because I scan everything in my life. There was about 50 of them. So one would last like 6 months, and there'd be arrows and colored. I love colored pens, highlighters. And I was doing arrows and writing nonsensical things, writing about my family. Grandmother loves the baby. She calls it a dear, sweet, darling, precious thing. Then the baby fell on the piano when she cried. Just like little stuff. Like, it's just blah. And there was one time I was covering something. It was a sketch class, and everybody was like, I can't do this. And I thought, I'm going to do something different. And at the end, everybody put it on the wall. So I wrote just like a long poem. Janice on my right is writing upside down. I don't know what the guy in front is saying. This rug smells. And I just kept writing, and I don't know. But that's what comes out of me, at least as far as, written expressionism.
Let me say that like a few days ago, I finished a project. One of my grandsons is almost 3, not really talking yet. And so I thought, okay, I could do 2 things at once. It always comes back to me too. I could make him a children's book where he like learns the alphabet. And so I had each letter on a page, like Gabe sees a fish and says F. And then on the page opposite, a big uppercase F and a lowercase f to typical. And then I have a little picture of the mouth, the shape the mouth would form, almost as if I was some speech therapist. But so I made this whole book, all the letters of the alphabet, sent it off to Blurb. I'll get it back in 2 weeks. And if it's okay.
Oh, great.
But afterwards, I thought, I should have done numbers first. So just today, I have a little book, just like you're talking about, that all kinds of crap. I could be like stoned late at night or something and like to start writing crazy poetry. I wouldn't want to show it to anybody, maybe. Although as I kind of look at it today, it's because I picked up this book to kind of start to write some stuff for this numbers book. And I saw some of the old poetry. I thought, hey, there's a couple of lines in there I could use someplace. And just what I wrote today. Number 1 is feeling fine. Number 1 doesn't have the time. And it's a whole page for each number.
Come on, keep going. I like this. What else you got? Come on.
Exactly.
Number 3, take a pee. Number 4, don't forget to close the door. Number 5, there's a beehive. I hope it's not killer bees, because I'd like some bologna and cheese.
Exactly. It really, the stuff is just like that. And I'll come back to that at some point, and like, I'll mix it around. I'll, take out the ones that are, lesser than the other ones and organize it in some way. And I'll draw pictures with it. But like, that's really part of the thing about tapping into your inner childhood is that you do it without inhibition. And that's what it takes for me to, or that's what I expect. That's the great wonder of the artwork that I do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I really have come to expect it to appear. And I have already said, like, okay, fine. There may be some lines you want to scratch out, but just let it flow, whatever it is. And there may be some gems in there. And so kind of searching for those gems.
Can we go back to the stoned late at night part? I was just sort of thrown in really quick. Is this because I'm a daytime pot guy? It keeps me up at night, but it probably you and I am a little bit of an engine. It's like a little caffeine, and I don't think you need to think any more creatively than you do. But I find pot, a little bit outside that box.
Well, for many years, I should say that I probably was stoned every day, certainly in those Fells Point years. Only recent, it's kind of funny, when I went out to Colorado, like a couple of years ago, where it's already like legal out there. And this is, I think, one of the most wonderful things that in my lifetime, pot became legal. And one of the great crimes against humanity that it was ever made illegal, and that there are still people sitting in jail and that have the everything that came along, the things that they were limited to, because all they wanted to do was get high. It is like there was no reason for it other than to mostly to lock up black people and to disenfranchise people. And so, that sticks in my craw. In fact, it sticks in my craw more now that companies like Philip Morris are going to be controlled. And I know they're not called that now, but whoever, big companies and corporations, Republicans, whatever, are going to control the legalized pot. When, if you ask me, it should be, okay, this is like the Indians in Florida have like all the gambling. They have a monopoly on the gambling. That black people should own the pot business at payback. That you want like restitution. Wow. There it is right there. Let the people them control it. So when I was out in Colorado, that was maybe one of the few times that I didn't smoke. Don't ask me why. Just didn't. Ever. I think it certainly like helps your creativity. But I have, since the pandemic, I haven't like done anything. It's been like months and months and months now, and that's fine. But you're playing music. I don't know if you can think of anything nicer to help you like play music. It's just like the two go together like birds of a feather.
Yeah. I'm addicted. Music all day, all night. People are always going, you should hear this podcast. Here I am doing a podcast. People are always saying, this is so interesting. And I'm like, when I'm doing something else, if I hear people talking, it's almost like an advertising. I just want the Grateful Dead or the Rolling Stones or Bach or country, bluegrass, jazz, whatever it is. I feel obligated to just say hi to my peoples out there. So I'm going to give a quick shout out. Casey Kelby, I hope you're still with us. Shelly Bush, my good friend. Stephen Block, who I'm going to see his house tomorrow. Ronald Wallman, of course. Astra, of course. All over the place. Who's going to be on next week at the end? Don't let me forget to give a little tease, as I already said. Carolyn Finlayson, who I don't know. Manita Brugg, Ron, Astra, Susan Marie Reyes, Master Ron Wells, and a lot of the Susan Ray. All right, there's a lot of repetition. These people. It's like I'm very happy that you're all talking to each other and back and forth because I can't. I don't have a chat jockey per se. All right, so we have 4 minutes technically, but I want to go to this other, the last video because it's probably the climax. So let me add to this stream. Hold on a second. No, hold on a second. Stop. Add, share screen, Chrome tab, share the audio for the election, rock and roll. Okay. What do you think will happen with the election in the United States? Are you happy, nervous? Do you think Biden wins, Trump wins?
I don't know what is going to happen, but something is going to happen for sure.
Oh, that's not good. Why would you stop there? Hold on a second. I don't know. Let me go back a second. Biden wins, Trump wins?
I don't know what is going to happen, but something is going to happen for sure, Very weird. We live in very weird times, and we all have a concern.
I think that Bernie could win, and
Okay, that's good. I like your straight deadpan face on that.
All right, cool. That's the best I could do.
Who the dogs won? Who the dogs won? Oh, Biden, good.
Oh, nice. Oh, I'm dancing.
I think Biden's going to win unless Trump steals it.
It's pretty clear he's going to lose the vote. But what is he going to do after that? After the walls start closing in?
Oh, civil war, probably. I know. I'm just so positive.
She's not wrong. Like, that shit, anything could happen.
Do you think he is going to go out?
I'm very scared that he's not.
I am nervous, but
because he's setting it up already. He's saying there's so many things that are going on, and he's refusing to leave if he loses.
We're in the portal, so nobody knows, not even them.
I think we need a change. And I'm totally for Kamala and Biden.
I actually think what's going to happen is what I hope will happen, which
Okay.
is that Biden wins and the American people's voices are finally heard.
Well, what I think is going to happen,
Yes.
and what I hope is going to happen,
Yes.
is that Trump is going to get blown out,
Yes.
and we're going to go back to the normal ways of life,
Yeah.
where people love each other,
Yes.
people respect each other,
Yes.
people have humanity
Yeah.
and peace and love and joy in their hearts.
I saw you clapping there for a minute. It was nice, right?
Guy.
Yeah. He was good. We talked for a while. He was a very classy. I loved, you run into those people. He was like, out for a Sunday stroll with his wife.
New York is so sophisticated. That's why they selected sociopaths so much. They know.
Okay, I want to do something fun because we really covered everything. It's great. Really, really nice. Everything on my list. I was going to say, and maybe at the end, moving forward, the future of you and art, and maybe how will a Biden or Trump presidency affect your art going forward. But you know what? I want to do, when I asked you for a couple of adjectives to describe yourself, you gave me 84. So I'm just kidding. Well, you said Manita, I guess is your wife. She gave me, there's like 15. So rapid fire, I'm going to give you one of the words and you give me the quickest summary as to why this word is in there. So it might not be easy. Are you ready? Are you sitting down?
I'm terrible at quizzes, but let's take a shot. Sure.
Prolific. What makes you prolific?
I can't stop.
Ingenious.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I've heard that.
Innovative. We're going to keep it going. Innovative.
Innovative. Well, you know what? I'm an Aries, if that means anything to people in the astrology set. I help but start things. Got to keep starting things.
Irreverent. Irreverent.
Okay. Question authority. Says who? It never stops.
That's a very good answer. Cultural interventionalist.
That kind of came up. I did a book of my artwork, and I thought, well, as I looked at at all of it, I thought that's what he does. He kind of keeps, meaning myself, the second person. I keep interacting with other people. It's not just a solitary art.
I think a lot of these things, we've just spent an hour with you seeing what you do and hearing you. So it's like, oh yeah, every time one of these words, it kind of makes sense. Funny. I don't know if we had funny tonight, but funny.
It seems to come out. So while I talk about serious subjects, I can't help making it irreverent at the same time.
I'm so with you. Using comedy I have trouble being serious. I don't like this for reasons A, B, or C. I'll be like, I'm going to imitate something or put a funny spin on that because that feels more comfortable to me. So perhaps it's similar. Deep, thoughtful, genius. Well, actually, those are three separate words. Deep, thoughtful, genius.
That's Manita's opinion, and every wife should have that opinion about their husband, or every husband wife.
Is she watching off to the side? Is she close by?
It must be in another room, and you read her name off, Manita Brood, so I assume
okay. I was hoping like Stephen Colbert, she'd be right next door and we'd whisk her in for a little wave or something.
Normally, yeah, she'd be interrupting and saying, don't say that.
If she's watching on Facebook in the other room, tell her to come in. We'd love to see the face. We've got you. We'd like to see her. Let me see. Yeah. Current state of mind, outraged. That's the last one.
Yeah, current state of mind, outraged. I cannot wait to not have to do political art.
Okay. Keep going. Tell me about that. So does that mean if Biden wins, things will change? I mean, if Trump wins, holy shit.
Well, you know what? I mean, political art it makes a certain statement, but as an artist, there's lots of things that I like to explore. I'm really, like most artists, an observer. And so I observe things that happens right now that like we can't get away from this Trump business. But even without Trump, what the Republicans are doing, look at the Supreme Court. There's battles to fight. This is a never-ending battle, and what can I say? Get in good trouble. But I would love to not have to do that. I wish it was peaceable times.
I got my football. It's a
There's my
football game.
That's my sweet.
Oh, finally! Hello. Have you been watching? Have you been seeing this magnificent performance?
Pumping out the hearts and likes.
Oh, good. How does it look on there on the interwebs? How does it look? We both look good.
Oh. I am so lucky to have this woman in my life. This is like my savior. Really.
¿Por qué, primo? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
She just.
That means why? Why? Yeah.
Oh, she makes all the difference. She is like does everything for me. When I go on a trip, I haven't gone on a trip in a while, she won't let me pack the suitcase. She packs everything. We're talking electric toothbrush and like, tubes of all the stuff that I might need, and like counts out. You'll need this many socks and this much underwear, and just like really.
One year I forgot the socks.
Okay.
You can buy them wherever you are. That's fine.
Worst.
Make sure they're mostly cotton. None of this rayon crap. A lot of cotton.
Bring it up to date. Manita has like an issue with beans, not eating them. Just
What
she's never
beans?
really made them. And so the other day, she's like, "These garbanzos, do you have to like soak them other night, like over other beans?" And yeah, of course you have to soak them. They're legumes, And so the next day, I saw that she soaked them in the kitchen. That she puts them out for lunch with whatever else was there. And I tasted the first one. It's kind of crunchy. I said, they taste like they're not cooked. So, oh yeah, right. Yeah, you have to cook them. Sorry.
That's right. I forgot to cook them.
Makes a good story, Maybe you could use them as art and paste them to a board and color them and paint and, turn it.
Although then I cooked them. We scraped them off the plate.
Hey, I forgot. I want to give a shout out to Astra and Dara at the end of the show and tell them they're coming next. So I wrote down meditation, exercise, mindfulness. Expand upon that while I find as far as how it relates to you. And then I'm going to find their picture. So
I knew that was coming, but great. Meditation. I took up meditation, I'll say recently again, but 20 years, probably more than that. A group of friends we heard about this thing called Vipassana meditation, which was a 10-day silent meditation retreat. None of us had ever meditated. We decided, well, before we go on this 10-day retreat, it was in Boston, we should like sit down and meditate. We sat down one time. It didn't even last 5 minutes. That was ahead of time. We went up there, but that was some of the best 10 days that I ever spent. And since that time, I am able to just take a deep breath, no matter where. I could be stuck in traffic. It doesn't make any difference. And just that breath going through you, it's like transcendental meditation. It's just like clear mind. It's just a beautiful thing. And even now, as I do yoga every other morning, there's my Astra. And I should say, let me put a shout out to, I know Astra because her mother was a dear, dear friend and a fantastic artist. I know that Astra will talk about her, but she is so lucky to have had Dina as her mother. Her father, by the way, was also, or not her father, but Dina's husband, so her stepfather was a great and very well-known Miami poet who did a wonderful dollar poem thing down here. I know they had one in New York and poems on buses and whatever, but
oh, nice.
Born into a creative family, so no wonder she is like so creative now.
I put on because Astra's mother made this. I don't remember the term for it. I want to call it a kippah, but the Bob Marley's head thing.
Tam.
Yeah.
Oh, Tam. In fact, even the one that Bob Marley is buried in was one that Dina made, and Bob Marley would send her the tam back every once in a while as he grew more hair, so that she would make.
Oh wow.
Bigger. He was one of the original art to wear artists. Recently had a show in Philadelphia, as a matter of fact, with other fabric artists. Just incredible. Her work, it would blow you away. I hope she brings some of her stuff. As a matter of fact, I did a video of her mother's work, also on my site probably.
Well, I'm going to just go and let's see, full F. There we go. So I'm just going to run through this. So this is Astra and Dara. You'll have to see which one is which next week. There they are with a few of their friends. This is supposed to be a teaser, so you'll come back next week with another friend. So one of them is married to the gentleman with the tie in front, who you may know and you may not. His name is Gilbert. And there's the Marley hat. And I think that's it. So let me come out of here and go back to us. All right. Well, that was a heck of an hour and 8 minutes.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I had such a good time.
Thank you.
Good time. But
I feel like we educated people. We made them happy. I mean, art makes the world go round, and it's just, you're a nice person. We will think of you, that my viewers out there will think of you when they see certain things. They probably will. They're like, that reminds me of that guy that was on Andrew's show. I don't remember his name, but I liked his beard and he was a kind soul. I don't know.
Thank you for saying that.
Sure. All right, I'm going to put. So I'm going to go to the closing credits. I want to let you know that stick around. You get some no answers, and then that cool Hispanic man gives me a nice phrase. He was very thankful. Actually, it's kind of for both of us because he said, "You know what you're doing with this is great. You're bringing attention and you're documenting this time." So we'll split credit on that one because it's your art, but I was the one going around shoving it in people's faces.
Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Eternally grateful.
All right, shalom, shalom.
Peace out.
You're happy, you're excited, you're nervous. What do you think's going to happen?
Nope.
Okay. Trump versus Biden? You don't know?
No.
Oh, no, please. I don't want to. Please. Sorry.
I'm going to have to leave my political opinions out of it.
Sorry,
we're kind of in a rush right
now. Oh, man, one nice Jewish boy to another.
He is a signed model. He's a public figure, so he's not really allowed to speak his mind so freely.
It gets you up and it gets you out, but how long can you keep it up? I said, give me Honda, give me Sony. It's so cheap and it's so phony. Hong Kong dollar, Indian cents, English pounds and the Benjamins.
You are enlightening people to what's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
And little things like this
Yeah.
says a lot about what's going on today. You know, I probably won't use this word, but I would use other words. But, you know, just because I'm a gentleman. You know, but I think, but let's not never forget democracy is here for us to protect. We have to protect democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy is very fragile.
Yeah.
And once in a while, it needs nurturing.
Yeah.
It needs to be cut. It needs to be groomed.
Yeah.
Because it won't take care of itself.
Right.
People
Yeah.
are here to protect democracy.
Yeah.
Not for democracy to protect us.
Your thing.